We'll leave this recorded program and take you live to the White House now. President Obama observing the first anniversary of the stimulus. He'll be introduced by the Vice President, Joe Biden. Live coverage on C-SPAN.
Recovery Act in the law, and I am probably preaching to the choir here as to how beneficial it's been. I stand before you, as I said, actually one day, on the exact day to a year that we've signed this act. And what I want to talk about is what we've accomplished, where we were back then, where I think we are now, and where we're going. And you and I know, without any question, the Recovery Act is working. It's working well, and maybe even most importantly, it's working towards something. It's not only helping American workers get back on their feet today, but it's laying a foundation for long-term growth for tomorrow, a little bit what we were talking about in the ante room. And you're the living proof of just what the Recovery Act is capable of. But the President and I, we realize that there's still a great deal more to do. We know that every success story that you could talk about, there's another story about a man or woman who just lost a job, just been laid off, a plant that's been closed down, a mortgage that's been foreclosed on. We know times are tough and for too many people and throughout the country. I've traveled now to, I think it's 60-some cities talking about the Recovery Act. And every day, every community I go to, you can see the pain of some of the communities are going through. Communities that were battered by the economy. I was just in Saginaw, Michigan, through no fault of their own. I've looked in the eyes of those out-of-work teachers and out-of-work businessmen and women, small business owners, construction workers who've been laid off. But I've seen something else as I've gone through those cities and towns. I've seen the sense of hope and optimism as well. Just yesterday, as I said, in Saginaw, Michigan, I was with a gentleman who has his BA. His name is Gonzalez, Mr. Gonzalez. He worked for an automobile company, and he got laid off. His wife and 2 kids were there at this event, but because of the Recovery Act and the job training program at a community college in his town, he went back and took a 16-hour course and being able to begin to deal with a 16-week course and being able to deal with chemicals related to the need, how they produced solar panels, and Dow Corning has a plant nearby. They've added 1,000 people over the last year because of some help they got as well, and their great reach. He's now working. He's working at a decent salary. And that community college is going to train this year another 100 people. Are going to go right from that training program directly into a job. There is the other thing I've noticed is, and I've noticed particularly from you all, and I use you in an editorial sense, is this emphatic, unrelenting belief that there is no reason why America has to be number 2. None whatsoever. I find even that laid-off worker refuses to believe America is going to be number 2 in the world, whether it's in ultimately the construction of wind turbines or whether it's in any other renewable energy form or new automobiles and battery technology. I mean, there is this sense. There is this sense among Americans, even in these tough times, there's no reason we're not going to come out of this stronger than when we went into it. And so that's what we've been able to deal with. And the Recovery Act has just provided some significant degree of optimism, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, sparking a clean energy revolution, transforming American healthcare, creating the best education system in the world. That's our future. I always say to my friends who think in politics who voted against this act, I say, any of you tell me how we can possibly lead in the 21st century with the same education system, with the same healthcare system, and the same energy policy we've had the last 35 years. Everyone knows the truth. The truth is that without a transformation in healthcare, without a transformation in education, without a transformation in energy, we're not going to succeed. We will not lead the 21st century, which is an unacceptable proposition to the American people. But sadly, some of my friends who are willing to acknowledge we need to lead in all those areas and make transformational changes, they're unwilling to take what I admit are difficult steps to make this transformation. They're unwilling to step up. Well, not us. The President and I know we can do better. You know we can do better. We know that's a new economy, and there's no reason why we won't lead it. That's why we think we have to usher in a new era of innovation and global leadership for America. And we owe much of the Recovery Act, behind the Recovery Act, which we don't talk much about, is those elements of innovation and change we're looking for. And we also owe it to the bold, clear-eyed leadership of not only the President, but many of you. I'll conclude by saying that many of you have taken advantage of the sort of spark that the Recovery Act provides and some of the tax incentives and others. But we don't think the government is the one that's going to ignite this revolution we need. You all take a little bit of help, and you go out and you risk a lot. You go out and you get some help from the government, and then you go out to capital markets and you've been out there and you go on the line for a whole lot more risk. And we admire you for it. That's the way we're going to get through this. And that, along with the President's leadership, he's the reason, in my view, why we stand here today with so much hope for tomorrow. His leadership has taken us very far from where we were last year. It's easy to forget. First quarter last year, this economy shrunk over 6%. The last quarter of this year, it grew over 6%. Something's happening. Something positive's happening. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think the main reason it's happening, at least in terms of government guidance, is because of the man I'm about to introduce, the President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.